Hello, welcome to the Crochet Cakes YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to be learning how to make this acorn granny square number 2. Now, if you've visited the channel previously, then you will have already seen acorn granny square number 1. But while I'm happy with this rounder version, I couldn't help but keep playing around until I found a more acorny acorn, if that makes sense. In my head, this more angular acorn is the acorn that's got its together, and then this other more rounded one is the work hoping acorn. To work up this acorn granny square number 2, we're going to need to know how to work in rows. We're going to need to know how to do single crochet stitches, slip stitches, how to read our stitches, how to increase, how to make a granny stitch, do a half double crochet stitch, and lastly an extended double crochet stitch. Now for the extended double crochet stitch, I will go over in this tutorial, or you can check out the previous acorn granny square tutorial to review how to make that stitch. So what are some of the differences between this acorn granny square number 2 and the previous one that I shared? Well, here you can see that we start in more of a peak and then we increase slightly, so our lines are cleaner, whereas in the first granny square we have a more rounded acorn shape. Now, for this granny square, we are going to be needing 3 colors as well, and whatever yarn you choose, you're going to need a hook to match it. Now, I've got various different yarns here. Some of these are cotton linen, some of these are 100% cotton, and some of these are 100% wool. But we're going to be using them to work up this second version of our acorn granny square along with a 5mm crochet hook. Just like the previous acorn granny square that we did, we are going to start from the acorn motif, then we're going to pick up stitches around, do a second round of a border, and then we start our granny stitch rounds. Okay, so let's begin by working up the body of our acorn motif. To begin working up the body of our acorn granny square number 2, I'm going to begin with this lighter cream color. This is the color linen in the range Dishy from We Crochet. I'll link it down below if you're interested. Now we're going to begin by making a slip knot, and then we are going to chain 2. Into the second chain from the hook, so this chain here, we're going to be working 1 single crochet. Then we are going to chain 1 and we are going to turn, and this completes row 1. Now for row 2, we are going to be working 3 single crochets into that stitch. So we're going to go into the stitch and we're going to complete 3 single crochets. Now we are going to chain 1 and we're going to turn, and this completes row 2. Now we're ready to begin row 3. For row 3, we are going to increase again, and we are going to start by working a single crochet increase into that very first stitch. You will find this written as single crochet 2 increase, and that means that we work 2 single crochets into the stitch indicated. In this case, it's our first one. We are going to be working a single crochet in the next stitch. And then in that very last stitch, we're going to be working another single crochet increase. Next, we are going to chain 1 and turn, and we're ready to begin row 4. Row 4 is going to be another increase row, but first what we're going to be doing is double checking that we indeed have 5 single crochets after completing row 3. All right, for row 4, into that first stitch, we're going to work up a single crochet. Then we're going to increase in the next stitch. This is single crochet to increase to indicate that we're working 2 single crochets into the next stitch. Next, we're going to do a single crochet in the single crochet. In the next stitch, we're going to do an increase. And into that very last stitch, we are going to be working a single crochet. Now we should have a total of 7 stitches. All right, now we are going to chain 1 and turn, and we're ready to start row 5. In row 5, we are going to be working a single crochet in the first stitch, a single crochet increase in the next stitch, now we're going to be working 3 single crochets, or 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, and 3. Into the next stitch, we're going to do an increase, and again, that is a single crochet increase. And then we're going to be working a single crochet in that very last stitch. We should now have a total of 9 single crochets. Now, from rounds 6 to 8, so the next 3 rounds, we're just going to be working a single crochet in each stitch. So again, for rounds 6, 7, and 8, we're not going to be increasing, we're just working a single crochet in each stitch. Remember to chain 1 and turn at the ends of rounds 6 and 7. At the end of round 8, we are going to be bringing in the color for the cap of our acorn. Now, what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be completing the very last stitch with this new color that we're adding in, and I'm going to be leaving a long tail. And when I mean a long tail of this color too, I mean at least 16 inches of tail, okay? So, as you can see, long tail. Now I'm going to be inserting my hook into the front loop of that completed stitch and into the left leg of the single crochet. This basically leaves us with an incompleted stitch. Now I'm going to yarn over with the new color and I'm going to pull that new color through. Now I'm not going to be cutting color 1 because after we pull it, to ensure that the only color that we have on our hook is the new color, what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be taking that color 1 and we're going to be looping it over our working yarn, which is now color 2, so that we are able to carry it up for this next row. Okay, so I chained one and I turned, and now I'm going to be carrying my color one in the back and working with my new yarn. I'm going to begin the top of the acorn by doing a single crochet, a chain one, and a single crochet in that very first stitch. There's a single crochet, chain one, and single crochet into that very first stitch, right? Now I'm going to do a single crochet until I have one stitch remaining, and in that last stitch I'm going to be repeating what I just did for the first one. Okay, but for now we're just going to single crochet in each stitch, and I will meet you back here to do that last stitch together. Okay, now into that very last stitch we are going to work a single crochet, still carrying our yarn as you saw, a chain of one, and a single crochet. Now we're going to let go of that tail that we carried for color one. We're letting that go. We no longer need to carry it. We just continue working with color two. But we're not cutting that tail, okay? We're just leaving it there as is. Now, we're back to our working yarn. We're going to chain one, and then we're going to turn. And we're ready to begin row two of our acorn cap. Now for row two, we're going to begin with a single crochet into that very first stitch. We're skipping that chain one space. We're skipping it. We're not working into it. And we go over to the next single crochet. And in the next single crochet, with the one following it, we're going to do a single crochet decrease. So insert our hook into the single crochet, insert our hook into the next single crochet, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. All right, so now we are going to be working 5 single crochets, and then I'll meet you back here. So working 5 single crochets just means we're going to be working 1 single crochet in the next 5 stitches. This is 3, this is 4, and this is going to be 5. Now what we're going to do with the remaining stitches is that over the next 2 single crochets, we're going to be working a single crochet decrease, okay? And that is written as single crochet 2 decrease to show that we're decreasing over 2 single crochet stitches. Okay, now we're going to skip the chain space and we're going to work a single crochet in that last stitch. By the end of this row 2, we should have 9 single crochets. So let's confirm 1, mm, and 9 single crochets right here. Perfect. Now we're going to chain 1 and turn, and we're going to begin row 3. For row 3, we're going to be doing single crochet decrease twice. Okay, so that is written as single crochet 2 decrease times 2. We're going into our first single crochet, we are going to yarn over, we're going to pull up a loop. We're going into the next single crochet, we're going to insert our hook, we're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. We're going to yarn over, pull through the 3 loops on the hook, that completes a decrease. Now over the next 2 stitches, we're going to complete our second decrease. Okay, we have 2 stitches in this row so far. Into the next stitch, we're going to do a single crochet. And then we're left with 4 stitches, but we need to do 2 single crochet decreases. So insert our hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, Insert our hook into the next single crochet, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 3. We've completed 1 decrease. Now over the next 2 stitches, we're completing the last decrease of the row. Now we've completed our acorn cap rows. We should have a total of 5 stitches after we complete row 3. Now we're going to chain 1, and we're going to begin working down the side of our acorn to create our slip stitch border. So here we're going to be working in the brown yarn when we're in the cap side, and then in the beigey yarn when we're working the body of the acorn. So into the base of this stitch, we're going to do a slip stitch. Okay. Into the next row, we're also going to do a slip stitch. And now we're inserting our hook into the next row, pulling up that beige yarn, pulling it through our brown yarn, and now we can cut the brown yarn because we're going to continue with that beige yarn, slip stitching down the side of our acorn. At the end of this slip stitch round, we should have 27 slip stitches. To really accentuate the tip of our acorn, I'm inserting the crochet hook into this space created by working the 3 single crochets. I'm inserting my hook there, and I'm yarning over doing a slip stitch. Then I'm going to insert my hook into the actual first stitch that we did. So right where we worked that first stitch, I'm inserting my crochet hook into that chain as well. And now again, when we come back up on the other side, I'm leaving the tail of the acorn alone. I'm not hiding it. And I'm going to be inserting my hook into the space of the single crochet. Okay, and now I'm moving my hook into the space created by working 3 double crochet stitches. I'm going right into that space as well, and I'm working a slip stitch. And this, I feel, just accentuates the tip of the acorn a little bit. Now we're going to continue on doing our slip stitches, remembering to change the color of our yarn whenever we reach the acorn cap. By the end of this round, we should have 27 slip stitches. Now we're going to slip stitch to that very first slip stitch that we made to close the round. And if you're missing 1 stitch, this can also serve as that last remaining stitch. So it can be your 27th stitch if you're missing a stitch. If you're not missing a stitch, make sure to tighten that slip stitch. Okay, now I'm going to close off this round. We're done with the slip stitch border, we're done with using color one. And now this slip stitch round is going to be considered the back of our work, okay? So we need to turn our acorn motif around and we're going to be looking at it from the top. We see where our stitch is and that our slip stitches are now at the back of the work, right where we need them to be. So we are going to start our first border round with the color that we used for the cap, but I'm actually going to be switching to a darker brown so that it's easier to see the differences between the start of the border and the cap. Locating that middle stitch, I'm going to be inserting my crochet hook into the slip stitch that's right at the back. This is why it's important to slip stitch loosely. And now I'm going to be picking up my dark brown color. Sorry, no. So with that dark brown color, I'm chaining one to secure, and then right in that same slip stitch, I'm inserting my hook and I'm going to be doing a single crochet. Now I'm going to chain two, and going back into that same slip stitch, I'm going to be doing another single crochet. Now I'm going to be switching to color 3, and color 3 is the color that we're going to be using for this remaining border as well as our granny stitch rounds. So I'm going to be finishing that last single crochet with color 3 to change colors. Perfect. This would be a good moment to cut your cut your yarn with enough tail to weave them in later. Now, we are going to work a single crochet in the next slip stitch. Again, this is why we want to slip stitch loosely. And remember, we're now only going to be working with color 3. Okay, into the next slip stitch, we're going to be working a single crochet increase, and that is written in the pattern as single crochet 2 increase, which means we work 2 single crochets in the next slip stitch. So if we look here at our work, the very next slip stitch, we're going to work 2 single crochets right here. Now that we've completed that single crochet increase, if we look at the slip stitches, we're kind of reaching a corner. So we're going to set up here for squaring off our triangular acorn, right? And we're squaring off by doing a single crochet, then we're going to chain one loosely, and we're going to do another single crochet all in this same slip stitch that I'm struggling to get into. So again, the corner is single crochet, chain one loosely, and then single crochet back into that same slip stitch. And this sets us up for a corner in our later rounds. Now into the next 6 slip stitches, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we're going to be working a single crochet, okay? Into this next slip stitch, we're going to complete another corner, so that is going to be single crochet, chain one loosely, single crochet all into this same stitch. Okay, let's take a look at what we've completed up till now from this second border round. So if you look at the very top of the acorn, right in the middle, we've done the stem in that darker brown color. And the stem was single crochet, chain two, single crochet, all in one stitch. Now we've worked until we reached the little corner of the acorn, and a corner is single crochet, chain one loosely, single crochet. Now we've worked 6 single crochets down the side of the acorn, and we've done another corner. Now, you can really tell that by doing this second setup round, we are quite literally squaring off the triangular acorn shape. So now we're going to be doing 6 single crochets again, and remember we're working into the slip stitch, so we kind of have to look at the back of the work, and that is 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, and 6. Let's double check. So we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 single crochets. And now into the next stitch, we're going to be working single crochet, chain one loosely, single crochet. Okay. So again, let's review what we've just completed. We have the top of our acorn, a corner, 6 single crochets, a corner, 6 single crochets, another corner. So now we are going to work 6 single crochets and make another corner right here. Right? So we just did 6 single crochets, and now into this next slip stitch, we're going to be working a single crochet, a chain one, and a single crochet. Next, we are going to work. Next, if we look in the back of our work, we have 2 more slip stitches to complete, right? So we are going to work 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 slip stitches. Now, in order to close the round, we are actually going to slip stitch into that chain 2 space. Now that we've completed our first squaring off round, we are ready to begin our granny stitch round. But first, let's review. We should have single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, all in the same stitch. Then 1, 2, 3 single crochets, a corner space, which is single crochet, chain 1, 6 single crochets, a corner space, which is single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, 6 single crochets, our third corner, 6 single crochets, our fourth corner, and then 1, 2 single crochets. Now we are ready to begin round 1 of our granny square rounds. In order to do that, I'm going to chain 1, and we're going to work 3 half double crochets into this chain 2 space. Yes, 3 half double crochets into the chain 2 space. 1, 2, and 3. Next step, we are going to chain 1 and we're going to skip 2 stitches. Remember that you have a single crochet right here, so that is 1, 2 stitches that we're skipping. Into the next single crochet, we're going to do a granny stitch. Chain 1. And now we're going to skip 2 stitches, which brings us to that chain 1 space. And into that chain 1 space, we're going to work a granny corner. So a granny corner is going to be 2 granny stitches separated by a chain of 2. So I'm going to complete the first of the granny stitches. I'm going to chain 2. And I'm going to complete the second of the granny stitches, all into that chain 1 space. Now we're going to chain 1. Skip 2 stitches. Remember that at the base of this corner, there is a stitch, so 1, 2 stitches skipped, yarn over, do a granny stitch in the next stitch. Chain 1, skip 2 stitches, do a granny stitch in the next. Chain 1. And now, when we skip 2 stitches, it's going to be 1 and 2, we've reached another chain 1 space, right? This is the single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, so this chain 1 space. We're going to be working a corner. Now, because if we look at our granny square, we see that this corner is a little bit more tucked in than this corner over here. We're going to be working longer stitches into this corner to kind of keep the same height all around the granny square. In order to do that, I'm going to be using extended double crochet stitches. So we begin by yarning over, going into that chain 1 space, pulling up a loop. We have 3 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through 1 loop, and then we're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So if we look at our stitch, the base of the stitch would be that chain 1, and then the top of the stitch would be the double crochet. So we're going to do that again. We're going to yarn over, insert our hook into that chain 1 space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through that first loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that is 2 extended double crochet stitches. Now I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to work 2 extended double crochet stitches into this same chain 1 space. So right where we just completed these 2 extended double crochets, we're going to do 2 more. Okay, and this completes our bottom corner. Okay, Now we are going to chain 1, skip 2 stitches, do a granny stitch, and then chain 1. We're going to do that twice. Again, we are going to chain 1, skip 2 stitches, do a granny stitch, chain 1 twice, or until we reach that chain 1 space from the next corner. Okay, I've just completed my 2 granny stitches separated by those chain 1 spaces, and now I've chained 1 and I'm going to skip 2 stitches, which puts me at exactly that chain 1 space. And into this bottom chain 1 space, we're going to repeat what we did in the previous corner. We are going to work 2 extended double crochet stitches into the chain 1 space. Then we are going to chain 2, and we're going to work 2 more extended double crochet stitches into that chain 1 space. So again, the bottom corner was 2 extended double crochet stitches, chain 2, 2 extended double crochet stitches, all into that chain 1 space. So this is what we have until now. We've completed the 3 corners, and in between these corners we have 2 granny stitches. So now I'm going to be chaining 1, and I'm going to be making 2 granny stitches. In order to make these granny stitches, remember that we are skipping 2, working a granny stitch, chaining 1, skipping 2, working a granny stitch. And we're going to do this until we reach that chain 1 space for our final corner. Remember once again that we are chaining 1 between each granny stitch, and since this is our base granny row, we are also skipping 2 stitches. So what a pattern means when they say chain 1, skip 2, granny stitch times 2 is that you're going to repeat those instructions inside the brackets twice. So right now this would be our first chain 1, skip 2, granny stitch. And now we start completing our second chain 1, skip 2, granny stitch. So we chain 1, we skip 2, and we do a granny stitch in the next stitch. After we complete our second granny stitch, we're going to chain 1. And if we look at our square, we just have to skip 1 stitch this time. And into that chain 1 space, we're going to be working our remaining granny corner. Now this time, our granny corner is going to be what I call the traditional granny corner, which is 2 granny stitches separated by a chain of 2. All of these are going to go into this chain 1 space. I'm starting my first granny stitch. Now I'm going to chain 2, and now starting my second granny stitch, which again goes into the chain 1 space. After we complete this granny corner, we are skipping all remaining stitches and we are going to close our round. We close the round by working a single crochet into that first half double crochet stitch of the very beginning. And by working this single crochet into the first half double crochet stitch of the round, we are creating, or I should say replacing, what would have been a chain one and a slip stitch, okay? So again, single crochet into that first half double crochet, and that leaves us with a completed granny stitch round. So I know that right now this granny square round is looking a little rectangular, but that is okay. The next round is going to very neatly square everything off. This next round should be very familiar to us because it is our traditional granny square round. We are going to start by doing a chain of one, and we are going to be inserting our hook into the space created by closing with that single crochet, and we're going to be doing a stacked single crochet or an alternate double crochet. If you want, you can also chain three. I just prefer to do a stacked single crochet. After completing that, we are going to do a chain of one. Now, as I said, this is a traditional granny square round, which means that we're going to be working granny stitches in the chain one spaces and granny corners into our chain two spaces. Remember that for this granny square, we are chaining one between each granny stitch that we complete. Again, for this round, we are going to be completing granny stitches in the chain one spaces. Chain one, and then granny stitch in the next chain one space. Chain one, and now we're at a granny corner, and into this chain two space we're going to work a granny corner. That means that we're going to work two granny stitches separated by a chain of two. Now I'm working my second granny stitch into that chain two space to complete the granny corner. Chain one, so we're going to continue this round by working our granny stitches in the chain one spaces, chaining one, working our granny corners into the chain two spaces, and chaining one after completing a granny corner. And we repeat that all the way around. I will meet you back here at this chain two space to complete the last granny stitch together. This is what our Acorn Granny Square number 2 looks like up till now. You see that we kind of went from a rectangular shape to a more square shape after completing this second round. All right, so now all we have left to do, we've just completed this corner. Now we are going to chain 1. And we are going to complete this granny stitch from the very beginning that we kind of just left with a double crochet. So in order to do that, we are going to yarn over, insert our hook into that chain 1 space, complete a double crochet, and complete another one. And now we're going to slip stitch into that first stitch to close our round and our granny square. Okay. Again, this is what our Acorn Granny Square number 2 looks like after completing the second round. You can see that by doing slip stitches and then single crochets around, we've managed to keep our acorn shape intact. Now, here is what our granny square would have looked like if we'd only worked one round of granny stitches, and I feel that it looks more like a rectangle. You can certainly leave it with just one round and then complete it with granny rectangles if you want to complete a project, but I kind of prefer the 2 rounds that make it a square. Let me know what you think and which one you prefer in the comments, and also let me know what projects you will be completing with this Acorn Granny Square number 2. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time.